And I think they are in tandem with the cooperation agreement. What would you have expected Mr. Museveni to say on that occasion, apart from welcoming Honorable Mao to the NRM? As to whether he accepted the welcome is something to discuss. Maybe after getting the response. I have not heard him, the speech he made. He did not directly comment to the welcome remarks that were made. I don't know whether he will do it subsequently, I don't know. But what is not in contest is that there is an agreement between the DP and the NRM. You saw in the speech by the vice chairperson of the NRM appreciating people like, Joyce Sebugwao, formerly of FDC, the level of vice president. Agreements of that nature, which organs are involved in the negotiations. So the DP leadership and the DP membership perhaps have better leverage over us.
Before I shift to other panelists, Honorable Mbidde, 1 year on, are we seeing the dividends of the agreement now that the discussion is openly about welcoming you and embracing you into NRM?
First of all, I think what you need to know, what were the objective reasons that made it a logical necessity for a party on the opposition to enter into an agreement with a ruling party? One of the material benefits that the country must now watch over is the proper fight against the power of bias. Because the power of bias had even become the moving swan song on the lips of every politician. Bias by the opposition against the NRM, bias by the NRM and all its cadreship against opposition. And I think the material decision that there can even be a sitting to talk about cooperation, that was one of the first achievements. Just like resolution of conflicts happens. It happens in phases. There must be talks about talks. There are times when even the fact that you can have warring sides on one single table, even when they are going to disagree, talk. That is one of the achievements. Then number two, the agreement itself has got cooperation areas. One of the areas includes amendment of laws, particular constitutional amendments that are required. One of the achievements then was the appointment of the minister as a tool of implementation of the agreement. It has taken, and for me, I think, for the President of the Republic of Uganda, who majorly respects those that are fighting him with the gun, to respect those that did not actually get the highest number of votes, sit with them, agree, and even appoint a tool of implementation of any of the particular provisions of the agreement. For me, that is an achievement. Some achievements, of course, we are talking about a government that has been in power for over 37 years. And you want achievements to actually be counted and enumerated in terms of agreement between the two. Government that has been governing, those that have been governed, but in 1 year, you want achievements to also be on paper.
So
I can simply tell you,
it's too early to count the achievements.
No, it is actually timely that we can celebrate over what we have achieved so far. But it is too early for you to talk of completion. Even when you are talking of constitutional amendments, we have not even had the views rightly from the opposition, for example, culminating
the first blow DP suffered was a denial from President Museveni that you ever discussed anything to do with the transition.
You see, our cooperation was reduced into agreement. It was written. I was on some of the television stations and I had the lipsus lingua. But what I can tell you, the lawyers are here. For us, the Latin maxim of leo demo de co olutul, leo demo de disolutul applies with equal force. That what has been reduced into writing can only be dissolved into writing. So once we have appended signatures to a written agreement, we cannot keep following principles to an agreement on what they are saying, what are they. Those are just majorly peremptory talk that we cannot, important levels, that for us we cannot keep following upon. What is material here is that you digress over what we have agreed upon. The option is available even in the agreement itself. Entry and exit are all served with wider gates. So we are talking about what we have appended signatures to, and that is what we are following on equal footing.
How come what you appended signatures to remains a big secret 1 year later?
These are not secrets.
Remains shrouded in secrecy.
No, these are not secrets, but we are talking about something that is new in Uganda. It is extremely new and incongruous to the peremptory conduct that has been refractory by the opposition. What we knew as the opposition was that when the president is talking on a television station, you must switch off. That we must riot against every detail of what they are doing. And that we must remain refractory against whatever they are doing. Now, we are introducing something new that I think we can have dialogue. So in my opinion, these are new things. I can see even my senior here, he doesn't want to quote what I am talking about. But the good thing is that she's a former minister, just like Mao is a minister now.
When I'm quiet.
Yes, but you are making movements that I may not have.
Now
I may not have
provoking me.
Yes. So, what I would like to tell you, Simon, is that these are new things. Every agreement has got its style of management, style of implementation. Just like a bill, it is presented to Parliament and it tells even, once it is passed into an act of Parliament, it appoints even a date it appoints a date on which it begins to function. It appoints a method of amendment of such a bill, just like a constitution. So these agreements are treated in a manner and the style agreed upon by the principals.
Well, very interesting. Honorable Miriam Atembe, going by the statements on Saturday at Mao's homecoming, would everything suggest that the pretense about whether DP is now NRM or into NRM has ended?
Well, I think Mbidde was provoking me. And now you call me after him. This is serious. Anyway, for me, I'm glad you invited me to discuss this matter. Because usually, when the Lord says, now go and speak, they invite me to come and speak. Now, on this matter, and why Mbidde was provoking me, he knows I don't like lies. I don't like lies. And we know reality on the ground. For me, I talked to Mao here. You remember when he had been appointed minister. And you remember how Mao used to pin me down here. Ha! I told you, me, I've never joined, me, I stayed free. I told you, you were there. Like Dombo usually say, you were a minister, as if it was a crime. Now, Mao went, and I told him here, Mao Bambi, you have gone, and that's it. You are not going to be the Mao that I thought I knew. And he stood there and said, this is a new Mao. I'm not the other Mao. President Museveni, when he won elections in 2011, he clearly said publicly that I am now going to finish opposition. Me, I quote what he says, I'm going to finish opposition. I even debated here, I said, let him tell us, is he going to kill these people? How is he going to finish it? And he started. He started by finishing Kamia's party and took her up. And you know how she dances for Museveni. No more party of Kamia. Then, of course, at the same time, that's when she got the first lady of UPC and made her minister. Up to now, she's there. And that's how later on she got the Anywa, Beatrice Anywa.
No agreement.
Are you waiting? You will talk your sham agreements. They nauseate me. Don't provoke me. I was now talking nicely. So the next person to get was who? Is now, I think, Sebugwa went, and then Mao. And for me, who is there listening, I'm saying, yeah, the man said he's finishing the opposition, and indeed, he's determined to finish it. And then, for me, You will help me. I'm not criticizing you as such. I'm only talking the reality which I see on the ground. And I want the public, the Ugandans, when we come here, we talk to Ugandans. Ugandans really want to know. We made a constitution, and we said multi-party democracy, where political parties are supposed to exist, the one in government, then the other are waiting in government, next time they will come to government, as usual as the multi-party political democracy works. But in this country, there is no conducive environment for the political parties to work, for government to acknowledge that the opposition is a government in waiting. The government sees opposition as the enemy, and the enemy is either killed or captured. That is the principle here. That enemy which is in opposition is either killed or captured. Now, these days, the capturing is the principle now. I do not know what the Constitution, when they changed a lot of things which I may not know. And that's why I say Mbidde would explain to us. As Ugandans, we want to know, are we having a multi-party political democracy, or we are having a coalition democracy?
Yes.
What exactly is the governance type in this country? Because when we see the UPC party is swallowed, then the other is swallowed, then the FDC, which is fighting, is swallowed through buying, through corruption. Others are swallowed internally through corruption. Others are swallowed officially in one way or another. And then me, I'm talking here, and I'm telling those Ugandans are with me in what I'm saying. The general Ugandans, they see things, they are being swallowed. Now, we don't know. Our constitution, and may I want to state this, as a person who was privileged to be a member of the Uganda Constitutional Commission, and we traversed this whole country and got the draft. I call that a national dialogue for Ugandans. And the draft was tabled to the CA. And CA was constituted by Ugandans representative. And through our national dialogue, we made a constitution. We opened political space. We said opposition should be there. We said the government, whoever is in government, the opposition is there. Now, I don't know whether in changing this constitution, because I haven't been reading the whole of it, I want Mbidde to tell people so that we may understand what is happening. Whether we said that there must be coalition, government, we must have coalition, because there is coalition where you sit as a government and opposition, and no, you coalition, you work together. If they say, let us work together, then Ugandans need to know. They have to know that, you know what? We have now, the movement, we couldn't work. We went into the parties with opposition here and there, we couldn't work. We have now come into a coalition. Me, I want to understand that, because I saw President Museveni, when Mao said he's planning, he had started about constitutional reform and that kind of thing. And then I saw President, he stood there on the screen, like I'm here talking. He said, that one, how can I make any agreement with Mao? I just enticed him like I'm always doing. He said that. Now, Mbidde, when the head of state whom you have entered into a contract with stands up there, for us, we didn't read your agreement, we don't know it. We know he's the head of state. We know he has powers. He can do anything. All this part of homecoming of Mao, it took a lot of money. a lot of money. And in Naguru Hospital there is closing. Can you imagine? Naguru Hospital is closing. Women who used to produce the horror mess, they're suffering. But that homecoming, the billions of money.
Really?